Hello, I'm Vince Bourbon, your delivery specialist at Weir Airstream of Chandler. Today I want to briefly go over the 2026 Tradewind and talk about some of the particular components on the outside and the inside. We'll start with the front of the trailer. Obviously, this is where you would hook up to your trailer ball. You have your breakaway for the emergency brakes. Something catastrophic happened and that was activated. You have your 7-way plug. Again, this will plug into your tow vehicle. It will run your trailer brakes, your batteries, charge your batteries, and run your trailer lights. You have an electric jack with a light. And then you also have a level, mainly for the front and back, but if you turn the level and remove it, there is a pin in there, and Airstream provides a tool so you could manually raise up your trailer and lower it if you had a failure on the motor. You also have, on this side, additional solar plug down here that supplements the solar on the roof. You also have a full-size spare tire underneath the trailer. To access that, you would pull out this pin, remove this other pin here, and the bar drops down and the tire just comes out. In the Tradewind, you have extra storage. This is normally where your batteries would go. However, since the Tradewind has the lithium batteries built in, they're removed from the battery compartment. So now you have extra storage there. On this side, if you chose to use propane on an external source, such as a fire pit or cooking, you can hook up a hose here, a low flow hose. Most people get something maybe 10, 20 feet, and then you can utilize the propane that's on board with your trailer. You have your 2 propane tanks. Again, Airstream recommends 1 tank off, 1 tank on when you're using them. You have a regulator here that as you turn, the nipple kind of points towards one of the tanks, whichever tank you're using. And the control knob will be green when they're full. That knob will start to turn red as you use the propane, letting you know when you run out. Your front window, as you can tighten these up, it locks into place, and then you're able to access the front window and open it. Always remember these 2 screws here on this side and then the other side. If you turn them a half a turn with a Phillips screwdriver, this panel here is on a hinge and will come out, and you can clean behind it, either this window cover or the actual glass window that's behind it. As we move around to the driver's side of the coach, remember the Airstream recommended tire pressures are attached here. You have manual leveling jacks. I'm sorry, they're stabilizer jacks. They don't level the coach. They're stabilizer jacks. There's 4 of them. You have a tool that's provided, and you would drop those and stabilize your trailer. You have room for storage for your sewer hose. Down here is for your gray tank and black tank, and the handles are gray and black. So if you were to be in an RV site or want to empty the tanks, you would do that here. You have a light also for at night. This side also has an outside shower. Airstream provides the blue shower hose with attachment on the sprayer. You would quick connect here. Then you have your freshwater fill is in this compartment here. So if you were going to an RV park, you would hook up to the water source and then attach here, and then you have onboard water. Back up that. We'll edit that. So this is for freshwater fill when you're not in an RV park but you're traveling. Therefore, if you're you want water on board or you're boondocking, you would fill your tank here. This is city water connection. This is where you'd be at an RV park where you would hook up to your city water a potable, usually white hose that's marine grade, and then you would attach it here. Once you turn the water on, this has a built-in regulator, you would then have endless water. This is your black tank flush for the black tank. You have a 110 plug on this side. If we come around, you have your smart plug. You just squeeze that and pull it out. Squeeze it to put it in again. You have a data port here with a cable hookup. A lot of people use their Starlink and plug in there. This is just an access panel for your furnace. There's nothing you need to do there. Always remember the torque on this particular trailer is 110, and you should check the torque on your tires every time you use it. So we come around to the rear of the trailer. You have storage back here. You also have a rear hatch. Airstream recommends that you lock the hatch, and there is a key that's provided where you can secure it. One thing you always need to check is when the hatch is up and you're going to put it away, make sure the pins have not come out. If you have small children or grandchildren or friends that maybe were looking at the hatch and you didn't know it and they brought those pins out, if you were to close this, you would do some damage and leaving marks. So you always want to make sure those pins are in when it's closed. Once you close that hatch, when you turn it, you then have to turn it another counterclockwise, and that actually locks it in place. The rear hatch also offers a screen. However, when the screen is down and you close the hatch, you always want to make sure that you put the screen up, because this handle will cause damage to the screen. As we move around to this side, you have your Airstream steps. Again, these are, when you put them up, you put them at a 90-degree angle and you just roll them in place. And then this just lifts up and they go up. To bring the steps out, it's recommended that you don't stand in front of it. Use two hands, drop the steps down, they'll lock into place. And then the key is just keep rolling the steps out as such, and that will lock into place there. You have your Airstream door with your screen. Once again, Airstream recommends that when you close the door, you attach the screen. Therefore, you won't be putting undue pressure on the plastic here if you're slamming the door. You have your door lock. Once again, remember, you have a deadbolt and you have the door lock. So you always want to have your keys with you if you were to lock the door, slam it, and leave the trailer. It's best practice to close the door and then use your keys to actually lock it. On the deadbolt, it's also recommended maybe to paint this red with fingernail polish or red paint, as if it gets put out, you don't recognize it and go to close the door, this will not go in, it will damage the locking mechanism. If it's red, it will flag you to know that it's out. We come along here, we have 110 again. This is the vent for your stove top in your vent. So when you're going to utilize that, you need to remove these plastic pegs here so the flap opens. For traveling, you put the little plastic pegs back in place. If you don't remove those pegs, you will have smoke fill up and your smoke detectors will go off inside the coach. This is just an access panel for maintenance on your water heater system. And then you have storage here, and each storage bay has a built-in light. We have your manual awning on the Tradewind that's brought out. We have a separate video just on the awning, so if you're interested in that, please look in the link below and we will send you the video on the awning and how to extend the awning and retract it. However, the awning does come with lights. There's a light switch inside the trailer that you turn on and off. And it also has a dimming feature on the lights. We'll now go inside and I'll cover some of the basics within the interior of the trailer. You have a light panel here, which is your interior lights that dim. This is a step light here that controls that for the outside. And then you have your battery disconnect here. It shuts off all the power to your trailer when you put it in storage. And of course, your solar still continues to work to charge your batteries. Airstream provides your radio. And then inside the cabinets of the Tradewind, there's a little switch here, a lever. You bring this up. You have some electronic components in here. One to note is this black box down below. There's a switch. If you push it in, there's a green light that comes on. That is your antenna booster. It will boost your antenna. And then when you're not using it, it's recommended to turn it off, as there is a parasitic draw if you were to leave it on. You have your dinette table. This just lifts up, and then the poles can be loosened up. The nice feature about the Tradewind queen bed is that if you were to take the table off for storage, it actually stores underneath the queen bed. The twin beds does not have this option. However, if you look under here, there's some ledges, and the bed your tabletop slides in here. So it's a nice feature on the queen bed option. You have a sink with a pull-out sprayer. You then have your control center here. You have a water pump. Green light will come on. That obviously primes the water pump. That would be used if you were not hooked up to city water, but you were boondocking and you needed water to utilize the water inside the trailer. You have your batteries, which will tell you if they're fully charged. This will tell you in percents the amount of water you have in your freshwater tank, then how much is in your gray tank and your black tank. And again, it's in percents. You have your cooktop fan and light here. You have 3-burner gas stove with a light. When you light the gas burners, 3 knobs then correspond with the proper cooktop, and you have an igniter here. So you would be pushing this in, turn this flame so it matches up, and then you turn the igniter, and you will end up activating your cooktop. You have a convection oven down there. You have lots of storage. That black box down here is your carbon monoxide detector. That will stay on at all times unless you use your battery disconnect. You have more storage underneath the coach. In the Tradewind, you have a manual override on your battery disconnect. It is somewhat redundant. If you were to hit the normal battery disconnect by the front door, this red knob would electronically shut off. You could override this, but it's recommended to shut off the trailer if you wanted to disconnect the batteries by pushing the button. The important part of this feature is if you were to be connected to a 110 or 10 amps, you need to turn the light switch here. So for instance, if you are using 30 amp service, which is what this trailer is, at an RV park, you would turn the light switch up. So you're utilizing your batteries and electrical system off of 30 amps. If you were to plug in somewhere and you just were going to use 10 amps or a 110 plug, you would need to convert it down. So you definitely want to hit that button there. Over here you have a smart TV, and then you have a control panel, which allows you to look at your lithium batteries, your inverter, and it will tell you what's going on, where your power is coming from. Are you pulling power from a 30 amp service, 110 service? Are you boondocking and you're not even hooked up to service? You're just running off of solar, or are you running off your lithium batteries? It will tell you how many hours you have on your batteries and then what you're running. So for instance, if you were running your air conditioner, it would tell you maybe have 6 hours. If you weren't running your air conditioner using regular lights, you might have 20 hours. As we move through, this is a 12-volt refrigerator, Nordicold freezer, refrigerator. It works very efficiently. It also stays cool while you're driving. If your 7-way plug is plugged into your tow vehicle, it will stay cool. If you're hooked into 30 amp service, it will stay cool. Or if you're just running off your lithium batteries. You have an on-off switch here. Then you have two little buttons here. One has white on top. That indicates the freezer. The one on the bottom is your refrigerator. So if you hit that, most people like the freezer at a 5. You can dial that down by just dialing the controller down. If you want, the fridge is at 5. Most people keep that at 3. So you'd have that at 3. You might have this at a 5. As you come through here, we have storage with another light. You have your shower with a vent in the shower. You just push the vent up, push the black button, and it comes on. It is always recommended that you keep this locked for travel. As we come through here, in the bathroom, you have a porcelain toilet with pump action here. So if you hold it down, as long as you have the water pump on and you're not hooked up to city water, it will work. You have another vent here, just like in the shower. Push it up, it will vent out. And then the light switch and the new water heater controller. This, you just turn it on. It will immediately start activating. You can dial your water heater up or down at the temperature you want set. And when you're not using it, you just turn it off. Then in the bedroom, you have another TV, smart TV. This one does swivel. The family room TV doesn't. You pull this cord down and then the TV releases. And for travel, you want to make sure the TV is locked and secured. You have another light here with dimmers. You have your thermostat for the air conditioner on the roof. To activate it, you just hit mode. That turns it on. And you have, in this particular controller, you have a fan mode. You have your air conditioning mode with the cool. You have a heat pump mode, which would draw some warm air from your roof air conditioner on electric. Then you have a heat pump and a furnace. The furnace runs off of propane. So you could run them both if you wanted to, if it was very cold. Or you just go to heat. Stays on furnace and then off. Very simple to use and easy. You have some USB ports and plugs on that side. Again, more storage over here. In the 2026, you have the new vents, which can be turned and internally turned off or on if you want to regulate your furnace. And then one last feature is you have a fantastic fan here. It's all electric. You just turn one button on, it automatically opens and turns on. And you can regulate the fan speed. You can also regulate, it's a rain sensor. If you don't want it closing when the rain's hitting it, you can adjust that as well. To turn it off, you just push the button and it'll shut. So that concludes this 2026 Tradewind. If you're interested in this trailer or any other products we have, please visit us at We Are Airstream in Chandler, Arizona.